Hey, I'm Jamey from Stonemeyer Games, and this is the Positively Board Gaming Podcast. But today it's just me. Mitchell has been under the weather, unfortunately, and I've been thinking about him, hoping that he will recover soon, and he will. He's doing better. I think we will record an episode soon for next week. But given that there's no episode today, I thought I would just talk about a topic that I think, even though Mitchell, I'm sure, would find a way to find this topic interesting, it probably isn't at the top of his mind for interesting topics. Today, I'm going to talk about what's in my disc golf bag, which a few people have asked about. And I'll explain maybe a little bit in a second why I'm going to talk about this topic. Mitch and I usually have a treat of the day. My treat of the day is I picked up food today after going to the dermatologist from a place called Bulk and Treat Box, and then got a dessert treat from the Annex. So there were some nice food treats today at lunch. And Megan was also very nice to give me a special coffee from a place called Fiddlehead Fern here in St. Louis. So some St. Louis shout outs there for my treats of the day. I hope you are indulging in something delicious today, whether it's food or otherwise. So disc golf. So I got into disc golf at the beginning. I think it was at the beginning of the pandemic, maybe 6 months into the pandemic, or maybe it was the following the year. Time is weird surrounding the pandemic, but I got into it because I was invited to play with by a friend and a friend that he had made through a disc golfing community, and he was basically looking for people who like board games and also were interested in disc golf, so that when we're playing disc golf, we could have something to talk about other than just disc golf. And so I've been playing disc golf now for about 5 years after playing ultimate frisbee for many years when I was younger. So I had some skills related to this. The whole point of disc golf is essentially a big outdoor dexterity game where you're trying to throw a piece of plastic into a metal basket with chains. And otherwise, it's very similar to normal golf. Like you throw the disc and then you walk over to the disc and you throw it again, and you're trying to get it in the basket with the fewest throws. It may sound simple, but there's a lot of factors that go into playing disc golf, including the type of disc that you use for every throw, the conditions you're playing in, the angle at which you throw the disc, whether you're throwing the disc forehand or backhand, and the distance that you're trying to throw, that will impact things as well. The amount of power you put into the throw, your form, all these different things go into it. It's a lot of fun to think about it, to analyze, and I get really excited whenever I'm going to play disc golf. So today, I'm going to talk about what's in my bag right now, my disc golf bag, and I have a few other maybe explanatory things that will come up as I'm going through this bag. So let's start with the disc that I probably use the most, which is my current putter. So this is a putter that I got. You can see that has the word City Museum on it. The City Museum is not exactly a museum. It is a place in St. Louis. It's kind of like a big adult jungle gym, although kids can also have fun on it. And a few years ago, there was a putting, just for fun, putting course for disc golf set up at the City Museum. And I got this free disc when I went there. And I found that I really liked it. It's a very flat disc. I like flat disc when I putt, although it looks like it's gotten a little bit warped. I need to reshape that. And it's a little sticky, like it's a little dry, which I like that texture as well. For some reason, psychologically, it feels like it sticks in the chains better. So I really like this disc for putting. So I use this disc within probably 50, 60 feet of the basket. I will often use this disc. It says Sano Problem here. I don't really know much about the brand of this disc. The weight is 176. I don't know much about it other than I really like this disc for putting. I'm going to pull a few discs out of my bag, out of the top of the bag here, and I'll talk about those before I go into some of the longer range discs. And I will say I'm not very good at putting. It's probably the weakest part of my game, and it is one of the things that really differentiates someone who is decent at disc golf and someone who is really good at disc golf. If you get pretty consistent at hitting putts within, I would say, 20 to 40 feet, if you can hit the majority of the putts within that range, you're going to be a very good disc golfer. My previous putter was the Green Gully disc. So this is a Bullfrog from Innova. And you're going to see a lot of Innova discs in my bag. I like Innova, and we have partnered with them essentially at Stonemeyer Games to make a number of custom discs themed after our game. So Green Gully is the world of Charterstone, my legacy village building game. And so this is a disc that we made for Green Gully. For many of these discs, there are different colors that can appear on the disc. So even though it says green, it is kind of random what color stamp is actually on the disc. This is another very flat disc. I do throw this sometimes, typically if I am in the, I don't know, 60 to 80 foot range, maybe a little bit beyond that. Now, the disc that I probably use, other than my putter, the disc that I use the most in the bag is this Big Germ AVR3. So Big Germ, Jeremy Colling, is a disc golfer that we sponsor at Stonemaier Games because of his love for both disc golf and wingspan. And I've had the pleasure of meeting Jeremy, playing wingspan with him. And he, a while ago, reached out to me when I originally was introduced to Jeremy. I had followed him on, well, not followed him, but he is one of the lead commentators for Jamey Pro, which is a major disc golfing channel. That's how I knew him, both as a professional disc golf player, but also through his great commentary on Jamey. And at one point, he reached out to me. I think he saw that I maybe was following along with Jamey or disc golf. He reached out to me and said, "I love wingspan. I just wanted to say thank you for making an awesome game that I really enjoy. I'd love to send you a disc since I've heard that you're a disc golfer." And he sent me this disc, and I just love this disc. It's another very flat disc. You'll see some discs that have different shapes, but it's a very flat disc. This is a putter and a putt and approach. I throw this anywhere within 200, sometimes even a little bit more than that, 200 feet to the basket. I will throw this disc. Typically forehand, I will throw this disc. I throw a lot forehand. And I have an ace with this disc. I have probably the most technically difficult ace that I have was on this disc at a course called Unger here in St. Louis. Unger Basket 18 is not that far. It's like a 200-foot basket, maybe a little bit less, but it has a lot of trees that are very easy to hit. It's a very narrow passage. So I couldn't believe that I even got close to the basket. It's very rare for me to even birdie this basket, much less watch the disc go in. So it was pretty incredible to have an ace with Big Germ's disc at that basket. Now, at one point, I threw this basket in a lake, and I was very lucky to get it back. But when it was sitting in the lake and I thought I wasn't going to get it back, I ordered 2 more Jeremy Colling discs, the exact same disc, just a different color. And this exact same disc as this other one that I just showed you, I think maybe the first time I ever threw this disc, I had an ace with it. I was visiting my family in Richmond, Virginia, and we visited the course at the University of Richmond. The first time I'd ever played this course. Basket 1, my first throw of the day. I had warmed up with like 2 putts on a warm-up basket, and I threw in this disc. It was absolutely incredible. Every ace feels absolutely incredible, or even just to throw it in from any distance feels incredible. But for it to be the first time with a disc, the first time at a course, my first throw at that course, essentially, yeah, pretty incredible. So I still use this one, even though it's essentially the same disc. Discs can change in terms of their shape and exactly how they react at different times based on, different trees that I've hit and whatnot. So I throw these for slightly different things, but sometimes I just throw this one because it's visibly fairly easy to find on the course. So those are some of the discs that I throw the most. Now I'm going to dip deeper into the bag. So the bag goes pretty deep down here. And I'll talk a little more briefly about some of these discs. I'll focus on maybe the ones that I throw the most. And I want to give a quick shout out to Disc Raptor. I call this like my disc taco thing, but this is a way to, this is something I backed on Kickstarter a while ago, and it basically dries off a disc. I can put a disc in here if it gets wet and dry it off really easily. And it also doubles as a way to as a knee pad. If I need to kneel down for a putt or a special shot, I can use this. I really like this thing. Okay, let's go deeper into the bag. I'll just grab a chunk of discs out of here and start talking about them. I definitely have some favorites. Yeah, here's so my friend Miles, who is one of the artists for Red Rising, he has his own line of custom stamps inspired by Red Rising, the Red Rising world. And so this is the Captain's Journey disc that Miles makes. It was for a while one of my favorite distance drivers. I really enjoy throwing this one forehand distance. It has an 11.5 speed, which is fairly high for speed. And this is inspired by Orion, one of the blues in Red Rising. Here is one of the first discs I made with Innova. This is the Jamey Stegmaier Scythe disc. This is another putt and approach disc, a pig. And so even though this is both putt and approach, it's a similar shape to the Big Germ AVR3, it does act differently. And I do different things with this disc. I find that this disc does a good job at just like stopping when it hits the ground. And I sometimes need that. I throw hammers with this disc. Or I throw an overhead hammer, maybe up a hill. I'll throw this disc. Here's a disc that's kind of designed around rolling, like rollers. And so I don't throw many rollers at all, but this is the Rolo Realms disc that's designed around rolling. And I don't throw this disc all that often. Yeah, this is a disc that I'm still working on figuring out what I do with this, because I don't throw many backhand throws, and this one I think is pretty good at backhand. There's some discs that you'll see in my bag that I just don't throw all that often. I love throwing my Goblin Blade. So this is another disc that Miles designed, inspired by Red Rising. This is Severo. And I have an ace with this disc, or this type of disc. Unfortunately, I lost my actual ace disc, as far as I can remember. I don't think this is the original disc that I threw in, but I threw in this type of disc at Unger on basket 4, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, basket 4 at Unger. Was that one of my first? That might have been my first ace. No, second ace. That was my second ace. My first ace will come later. And actually, I don't have the disc. I don't have the disc for my first ace. That was at a different location here in St. Louis at Watson Trail. But yeah, this was maybe my second ace. My turn. Yeah, this is a disc that I'm working on. So I am not very good at throwing backhand, especially distance. But and when I throw backhand, the disc tends to dive to the left at the end. So I'm working on throwing this disc, the turn, because it is pretty good at resisting that turn. It wants to go to the right basically when I throw it backhand. So I've been throwing this one a little bit more often. I'll get to one of my favorite discs in a minute. This is another disc from us that Miles illustrated. This is the Bento disc, and inspired by this is a Katana distance driver. This is one that I threw a lot when I was starting off throwing backhand, and then I transitioned to throwing distance forehand. But Katana was a lot of fun to throw, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly what to do with it backhand, but I really like the sushi inspired design for it. Now, one of my all-time favorite discs is my kitten disc. So this has my current cat Walter and my former cat Biddy. They're both on this disc. And this disc, I love this disc. I throw it forehand, I throw it backhand, and I have my, not latest ace, I have my 4th ace with this disc. I have 5 total aces. I think this is the last ace story that you'll get. But this was a really special ace for me, both because I love my cats, and it was really fun to hit an ace with the disc for them. This is actually a leopard, I believe. A leopard. Yeah, I think just a leopard. And I put a lot of power in my forehand to my own detriment, to my own health detriment. And so there are certain times where I have to take a break from throwing forehand and just throw backhand, even though I'm not very good at it. And this was one of those times where my elbow was really hurting, and so I couldn't throw forehand at all. And so I wasn't expecting to play well, and I didn't really play all that well. But I got an ace in Kansas City with this disc, throwing backhand completely unexpectedly. In fact, I did not even see it go in the basket because I thought it was going way out of bounds, but it crashed into the basket before going out of bounds. So that was pretty awesome. This is at a place called Waterworks in Kansas City. All right, yeah, well, here's one of my favorite discs to throw recently. This is the Brute. This is another Stonemeyer disc based on the Innova Beast. And as you see, there are people's names. If you're watching the video of this, there are people's names on these discs. These are people that I often play disc golf with. So we have kind of these signature discs, just a little homage to these people that I enjoy playing disc golf with. This disc I throw, if there's a tunnel shot, I'll often throw this disc. I don't know why. Part of it's psychological. Part of it might just be the stability and how I work my forehand. But this one's really fun for tunnel shots. I really enjoy that. And I actually have another one in my bag right now because I lost one, and then I found that I had one, and I also had another one. So I have a backup because I throw that one a lot. One of my actually, I have 2 of my favorite discs right here, both of them Stonemeyer discs. Here is our Wingspan inspired disc, which is a Thunderbird. This is a disc that throwing forehand, it ends up curving right a little bit. And this is the one that I am actively trying to get an ace with this disc. Really, really trying to get an ace with this disc. Just because it's a Wingspan disc. It's a major game that we make. And because I really like throwing this disc. Yeah, I really, really like this disc. And the other disc that I have just had a ton of fun throwing, looks like I have a little dent on it, though, which might be hurting the distance. But this is, I got an eagle with this disc. This is the Tapestry Shrike Distance Driver, speed of 13, really high speed on this disc. So this is a distance driver. And if I get the angle right, I can really chuck this thing. I've thrown this over 400 feet. And my longest ever throw in was with this disc on a par 4, where I had a drive that was okay, and then I just threw this thing as hard as I could at the basket from around 300 feet away, and miraculously it went in, which felt really good, really, really good. Like aces feel spectacular, but throwing in a disc from 300 feet feels very unexpected and really, really good. So that was fun to get with this Tapestry disc. I still throw that one a lot. Okay, now I think we're getting to the part of the bag that I don't throw all that often. Here is another Stonemeyer disc, a really beautiful design from Miles. This is the Bliss, inspired by Euphoria. And this is a fairway driver. I generally throw this backhand just for straight shots. I really, really like the design on this disc. I never want to lose this disc. I like the color of the step. I like everything about the way this thing looks. Also, as I'm showing these to you, these Stonemeyer discs are not just for my own personal use. We have them on our web store if you're interested in, if you like any of the stamps on them and want to get one of these discs. They're there. I have a Innova, because we make a lot of custom discs with us. They often send me a holiday themed disc, and oftentimes I don't really know what these discs do. Let me see if I can see any information about it. It's probably on here somewhere. But oftentimes, one of the fun things about disc golf is just trying different types of throws with a new disc and seeing what it does. And that's why I include some discs in my bag that I don't use very often, just to see what they do. So I have this one. This is another one of those discs. This is a Svea, and this is a disc. I still have the tag on it. This is a mid-range disc that is very, very squishy. You can see it's very easy to move this disc around. This is one that I'd like to throw better, but I don't really know what to do with this one yet. So I'm still working on this one. This is a Splice. Oh yeah, this disc is crazy to throw because with forehand, it dives. It wants to go to the right so badly. And so I have to throw it like this. There's a disc golfer that I really love watching called Owen Scoggins, and she throws these beautiful forehands that cut so hard to the left before finishing right. They're awesome to throw. So I got this one so I could throw a little bit more like Owen Scoggins. I haven't really gotten close to that, but I have had a few good shots with it. And oh yeah, here's the Castle disc, another Stonemeyer disc. This is a Rock, another mid-range disc. This one, I'm still kind of figuring out what to do with this one, but I've been throwing it a little bit more often. For my forehand, it wants to go to the left a little bit. I don't fully know why that is, because of the stats on here indicate to me that it actually wants to go to the right, but this particular disc doesn't want to do that. Just have different personalities. And then last, I have another Miles disc. This is another Red Rising themed disc. This is the Storm Knight disc, a really cool stamp. And I will try to find a link to Miles's website in case you see any of these stamps, because if you like Red Rising, if you like disc golf, and if you like Miles's art, these discs are fantastic. This is the Assassin. This is a distance driver, speed 9. This one is a lot of fun to throw. It's actually a little similar. It does similar things to my Kitten, so I don't throw it all that often. But there's certain baskets that I really like to throw this particular disc on, just because I've had good success with those baskets. I think that's all the stuff I have in my bag that is really relevant to disc golf. I'm sure there's like a granola bar or something like that in there. I know a lot of you probably haven't watched this video, but if you made it this far, because well, thank you for watching along and hearing me talk about disc golf and everything that's in my bag. I'd love to hear your stories. If you're a disc golf player, what's in your bag? Feel free to share some of the most common discs that you use for putting, mid-range, and distance. And if you're not a disc golf player, but you have another hobby that is maybe kind of like this, where you have a bag or a collection of things that you use for that hobby, I'd love to hear about that in the comments as well, or even just the concept of that would be interesting to hear about. So I hope Mitchell feels better soon. Mitchell, I'm sorry that we didn't get to have this conversation together. That would have been lovely. But I look forward to you getting better, and then we can record another episode together. All right. Take care. Bye.